Hey everybody, what's going on? I am Jamie Dawn, your evolutionary revolutionary astrologer, and let's talk a little bit. I mentioned in my last video about this full moon lunar eclipse that's happening Virgo Pisces, and even though the nodes are in Leo Aquarius, it's still close enough to consider this being an eclipse. And with eclipses, as I mentioned, things have a tendency to be final. We're releasing, we're letting go, and we want to do it in a way that is compassionate, it's healing. And so I mentioned also, I would talk a little bit about how do we release or let go, surrender something in a kind and compassionate way. And this isn't about getting rid of it per se. We're honoring that time that we've spent with the experience, with the person, where what have we learned about ourselves? What have we gained for ourselves? What has the experience and the story taught us? These are the kind of things that we can glean, and we spend a little time honoring it. And also, what we're doing is we're repurposing. So let's take relationship, for example, and let's say it was a romantic relationship that's no longer serving you, and you've decided that it's time to transition that relationship. Well, it doesn't have to be done in a mean and spiteful way, even if it wasn't the happiest of relationships per se. And the way in which you can transition it is to spend time talking through it. And even if your decision is final, that the relationship is no longer romantic, can we still be friends? And if we can't be friends, how can we do this in a way that says, I still wish you well and I want to be well? And we continue to part ways, right? I think about a story that someone told me once when their significant other was breaking up with them, and they cut on the flip flops, you have the little thong part. Well, she ended up cutting that part of the flip flop. So when he put his shoes or his feet into the flip flops, it just went right through, right? It's not exactly the kind of compassionate way, even though hindsight, it seems funny. But yeah, let's not be cutting people's thongs out of their flip flops, right? But this is where we can gently say, how can I shift how I have carried this before, whatever this is, to a state that offers greater understanding, greater purpose, and greater wisdom? So we acknowledge, we allow, we honor, offer our gratitude, and offer our wisdom. One other thing that I want to point out this week is with the sun at the beginning of Virgo here, it's making a trine to Chiron. Excuse me. I have a little bit of tea here. Oh, great. Thank you. It's making a trine to Chiron, and Chiron is in Taurus. And so the theme here is healing through gentle, practical care. And so, with the sun in Virgo, trining Chiron in Taurus, there's this grounded reality, this thing that says, I want to take my time having acts of care and acceptance and consistency, what needs tending, what helps me feel safe, what helps me feel rooted. And with Chiron, can I meet this tender place without treating it as if something is wrong with me? Remember, Chiron's that wounded healer or the teacher, really, through our wounding. And so there may be some wounds that get scratched. I know for myself, I had a conversation with someone yesterday that some things were said from their view, and they're allowed to feel what they feel, but the way in which it was projected didn't feel very good. And some of my wounds were scratched. And so I had to tend to myself, but this wasn't used as a form of rejection. We don't want to use release or surrender as this form of rejection, right? We're not trying to push something away and saying, oh, something is wrong with me, or I'm letting this go because I don't matter, or I just need to go away, or whatever. That it's not, I shouldn't feel this, or why do I keep doing this? We're not going to use this as a scourge to beat ourselves up, right? So we don't want to orphan these parts of ourselves. We actually, what if this part of us that we're trying to release doesn't need to be pushed away? What if it needs to be acknowledged so that it can soften its grip on us? And the acknowledgement isn't, yeah, I'm a terrible human, or yeah, I always screw up, or whatever. Maybe the acknowledgement is, yeah, I am human and I do make mistakes. and what do I learn from them, right? And just because someone accuses me of something doesn't necessarily make it true. So, gentle. What we're working with over these next few days and maybe even weeks, it may carry on. I mean, this is a good practice to continue, is to be gentle with ourselves and to continue to offer that forgiveness, to offer grounded presence, and to do it without shame. This isn't about shaming ourselves, that when we're releasing something, we're not doing it out of a shameful way. We're doing it because we've learned something valuable that can benefit us and can benefit others, and that we can grow and we can evolve. And that's what we're here to do. All right, you guys, I hope this helps. Please like, subscribe, share, comment. Come find me at one2listen, jamiedawn.com. And of course, follow me on social media. And I look forward to hearing and supporting you in this full moon eclipse that's happening on Thursday night into Friday. All right, you guys, enjoy the rest of the week.